I will try to share with you insight into it. Now, to have a person who is recognized as the most brilliant mind in this day and age, declaring that the wisdom of the rabbis in the Talmud is far greater than what I can figure out, is a tremendous Kiddush Hashem, a tremendous sanctification of the name of God. A humble fellow, he's aging a little bit, but I had a wonderful conversation with him. He was friendly, and the schmoozing was good. Michael Oren was also waiting a little bit, came early as well. Naftali Bennett came early. Naftali Bennett is a big cheverman, right? He's a very warm individual. He's a type of guy that whams you on the back. The problem is he's strong too. So like, it took me a few hours to get over the Naftali Bennett. Now that's not the first politician that almost hurt me, because when I was standing in the Knesset and schmoozing with someone there, Ruvi Rivlin, who is a well-known name in the Likud, he also almost knocked me over. That was unintentional, so I could forgive both of them myself. But bottom line is that you meet a lot of individuals. There was a fellow, reading the markings of an army official. There was a fellow that was one under the chief of staff, who Aluf or Rav Aluf, one under. So I go over to him, I say, listen, I can tell from your ranking that you're doing a good job. I thank you, I have a tremendous amount of regard. So your official position, I ask him, and he says that I am the Maskir Tzvai LeRosh HaMemshala. In other words, the prime minister needs to communicate about things in the army. He has someone with him every moment. And he's a fellow that last week, when they seized the Iranian ship, and there was a picture of Netanyahu on a phone next he was in Los Angeles then, next to an army official, that was that individual. So the who's who of Israel politics were there at the event, and eventually they let us in. I sat next to an MP out from Alberta. The handshaking, I could give you the list or you could read the email itself. I was able to shake the Prime Minister's hand, but let's get to the crucial moment of how I got back at my brother, because that was really the goal, not just of what I'm sharing with you now, but of my trip in essence. My brother had a sign, right? A sign designated for the Prime Minister at what? At a Levaya. And now listen to my sign. Right after, now, to get through to Netanyahu, there was security. In other words, other people like Boogie Yalon, you could walk over, I had a good conversation with Boogie Yalon, perhaps I'll share with you, and with others, there are zero security, because these are people that went through security already. When it comes to the Prime Ministers and their wives were sitting at his table, the access was limited, only during the rock concert, because I've been to 2 rock concerts in my life. And both of them were given by Prime Ministers. I mean, both same Prime Minister. Something very interesting about that. But during Harper's musical presentation, I had access to the Prime Minister. When they left, right? They stepped out. I realized that this is an opportunity, and I jump to the table where the Prime Ministers were present, and Baruch Hashem, I have here a little place card. And the place card says, Mr. Benjamin Netanyahu. This is the place card, and you all agree that this beats a funeral. Yeah, you do. I win. I want him to watch this moment. Now, there were 2 missing. Sarah Netanyahu's was not there. Stephen Harper's not there. But Lorraine Harper's card, if they see it, I'll send it back to Ottawa. Because this one I could give up. B'diavad. I mean, if the Prime Minister requests, he's a great friend of Israel, I would send him the card. But this one's mine. Sorry, Bibi. Now, with that was the great moment. Wednesday, we made our way up to the Hula Valley. I had Wednesday was a little bit of a challenging day. My flight out, and many of us, was the El Al late Wednesday night, Thursday morning. So leaving, if we would want to join the Hula Valley event, it meant leaving Yerushalayim at 8 a.m. and traveling the whole day, which was a challenge, but we decided it's the right thing to do. It's honoring the Prime Minister. We made it up to the Hula Valley. We made it back to Tel Aviv. I spoke about the Tel Aviv event. Now, the one paragraph that I want to share with you, is going to be clarified with our understanding that we must look back to the Second Temple period. Remember Malchut Achashverosh? What happened towards the end of the kingdom of Achashverosh? there was a decree to destroy the people of Israel. What happened in the beginning of Malchut Achashverosh? What happened in the beginning of his reign? So we just read, Katvu Sitna al Hayudim, that there was a negative report about the events that were occurring in Israel, right? Specifically about what is taking place in Israel. Not about the world, not about Jewry. It wasn't an attack on the Jews. It was an attack, a very specific attack on what is taking place in the land of Israel. So, our rabbis tell us, you should know, it is in the book called Seder Olam, that when you read the Aseret Bnei Haman, you want to know who they are? Aseret Bnei Haman, Elu Asara Shekatvu Sitna al Yehuda v'Yerushalayim. When you read in the book of Ezra, that in the beginning of reign of Achashverosh, there was an attack about the wall that is being built in Israel. And if you would ask Jews in Persia, tell me what's your thought about what's taking place in Israel, I wouldn't be surprised if you would find some saying, listen, they should try to work things out in Israel. They should find some kind of peaceful resolution. Why do they have to build that wall? It's not really necessary. In the beginning of Malchut Achashverosh, there was a limited attack on what the Jews are doing in Israel. But these are the exact same people who 10 years later are attacking, and their desire is not to uproot what is taking place in Israel, not the fact that we are coming home. They want to destroy all of the people of Israel. And the point is that anyone who has a desire, anyone who believes that the Zionists are harmful, but they have nothing against the Jews, anyone that makes such a declaration, it is a bluff. It is not true. Because Aseret Bnei Haman, the children of Haman, how did they start their career? Their career of wanting to annihilate the Jewish people. The career began with a narrow attack on what's taking place in the land of Israel. And that, I have no doubt that there were Jews that were fooled to believe that it was an attack that is specific, that only relates to what is happening in Eretz Yisrael. And if we would just be a little bit more flexible and try to work things out and come up with a compromise, we could settle all anti-Semitism. But you know what happened? These are the exact same players that a decade later, what was their desire and what was their true intention, and what can we present without a doubt that we know for a fact that their original intention was not just against the Jews in the land, it is against the Jewish people. Aseret Bnei Aman Shekatvu Sitna, that went ahead and made up these accusations on Yehuda v'Yerushalayim, they are the exact same ones that go ahead and join their father to try to kill every single Jewish person. This is what Chazal are telling us. Katvu Sitna Yerushalayim, he thinks about Yerushalayim? No. When they are attacking the Israelis, they are in essence the same old anti-Semites. For us Jews to know it, I think it should be given, because Chazal tell us that. But to hear Prime Minister Harper say, in much of the Western world, the old hatred has been translated into more sophisticated language for use in polite society. People who would never say they hate and blame the Jews for their own failings or the problems of the world, instead declare their hatred of Israel and blame the only Jewish state for the problems of the Middle East. As once Jewish businesses were boycotted, some civil society leaders today call for the boycott of Israel. Prime Minister Harper understands that those who are attacking the state of Israel and claim I have nothing against the Jews, I love Jews, some of my best friends are Jews, my doctor is Jewish, my architect is Jewish, those who are making those statements are people, it is a new form of anti-Semitism. And the Aseret Bnei Aman, who write a sitna against what is playing, make up bluffs, make up stories about what is taking place in the land of Israel, are the same ones that are going to try to uproot us. And when we celebrate this Purim day, we have to celebrate with a commitment not to be fooled anymore. We have to celebrate with a commitment to value our people, but to go ahead and recognize the real challenge of anti-Semitism in this day and age. We will fight it by, number one, by unifying, by appreciating the gift of a Jewish state, by standing by it, and showing our hakaras hatov, showing our appreciation for a leader that truly understands it. We are in a very interesting world that people could say, I'm a friend of Israel, but friends are supposed to criticize. You know, it is absurd. Would I be your friend if you would go ahead and call me shorty, and you would call me dishonest, and you would call me someone that is, repulsive, but I'm your friend? We would call that absurd. So why is it that you could have in the world people who get up and say, I'm a big friend of Israel, but Israel is awful, what they are doing to the Palestinians is apartheid? We have this world that people believe that since they can get those words, I'm a friend of Israel, within the 15-second slot, they think that that's enough. You have people in the United States that believe that we are fools. You have this woman out in Florida. You people, we Torontonians worship Florida, unfortunately, right? So let me tell you something about Florida. There's a woman that represents one of the districts. Her name is Debbie Schultz Wasserman. Right? Debbie Schultz Wasserman, when she's in Florida addressing the Jews that she's represent, she says, yeah, we're taking a very, very strong against Iran. Very, very strong stance. The Obama administration is a Democrat. Big-time Democrat. Very strong stance against Iran. But then, when she's back in Washington, and this is all recorded, when she's back in Washington, what is she doing? She's backing the Obama who are preventing the Senate and the Congress from voting on increasing sanctions. In other words, she has this belief that you could say one thing, do something else, and we are fools and we can believe it. This is a time that we have to use wisdom. It is a time that we have to show appreciation. And for me, it was a privilege to join a delegation of a unique world leader. May the Ribbon Shalom take care of him. And continue. We should continue being supportive of someone who says what others don't. You sense it in Israel. You sense it here in Toronto. There is something unique. It was a privilege for me, and I was zocha b'schus harabim. In other words, it was due to the fact that I represent this kehillah that I made it there. It was an event that, of course, I'm never going to forget. It was an experience that was unique then, and I look back, it was unique then. But I do believe that the Purim story fits in very well for one simple reason. It was a man that identifies that if you are not supportive of the Jews in Israel, you in essence are going to be a person who is going to support lahashmid, laharag is called Yehudim, the Ribbon Shalom. Take care of us. I thank you for coming out in the cold on this evening, but I hope we were able to gain something. Thank you again. Thank you very much.
For an outstanding discussion. Two things. I think Rabbi Malevsky is going to be here for a little while because it's going to take time for everyone to leave. So if you have questions, feel free. There's a little food left. I see three things. When you're driving up, please be very careful. It is slippery out there. And there's a lot of cars, I think, in the parking lot, but possibly not a lot of room between the cars. So drive carefully, and thank you again for coming this evening.